Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to have a bit of a philosophical discussion, I suppose, about the pros and cons of Nigel Farage deciding to drag his backside into this election from the point of view of progressive voters. There are pros and cons to him standing, and are there pros and cons to him even winning a Westminster seat for the 8th time of asking? Will it be a net benefit or not? Personally, I view Nigel Farage as being quite similar to Suella Braverman in that they don't need to succeed in their own personal endeavours to cause damage. People have asked me in the past if I'd welcome the Tories adopting Braverman as their leader if it means making the Tories unelectable for far longer. And my view is it's not worth it. As leader of the Conservatives, even in opposition, Braverman would have a major platform to further poison politics. She would, after all, be determining the policies of the party who could credibly win the following election, so there's even less chance of the media calling out obvious falsehoods than exists right now. It's the same with Farage, really. It would be different if the media reported on him in a proportionate way, give him time according to his party's political footprint, which wouldn't be very much, and fact-checked all his statements, but this almost never happens. However, he is standing and he is going to get a disproportionate amount of attention from the media. So that's baked in. What is the likely impact here? Well, he's expected to take more votes from the Conservatives. We don't know how many for certain because he's left it very late to enter the campaign. Had he been front and centre of the Reform UK campaign for a few months already, I think it's quite likely he would have caused significant electoral damage to the Tories. Now, only 4 weeks left, and where he's got to also focus on the seat he's standing in, I still think he will, but I'm not as confident until I see some polls at the end of the month showing it. He certainly won't be doing the Tories any favours, mind you. As a result of his frontline role, he is probably going to cost the Tories enough votes in enough marginals to cost them potentially dozens of seats. That's a benefit. He's already having the effect of making the Tories think about trying to adopt crazier policies to counter him. But as this is more likely to put off moderate One Nation Conservative voters, this will also indirectly lead to the loss of votes, maybe enough to cost even more seats. We won't really know that until the detailed post-election analysis of the results taking place. So that is also sort of a benefit, though, with a sting in the tail. Because whether it's worth the extra toxicity that Farage is going to introduce to the election campaign, that is another matter. Especially as he's surely only going to encourage the Tories to match his poisonous words. But the really big question is, what would Farage winning a seat in Parliament bring to British politics? I mean, first of all, how likely is it? Well, if we take the recent YouGov MRP poll. Now, this is one poll. There's still a long way to go in the election. There could be errors. But if we take these figures, and again, I'm going to keep cautioning when you're looking at an individual seat, it can look very different. But if we look at the figures, it would look like a 3-horse race. In theory, it actually looks like a 2-horse race between Farage and the Conservative candidate, because there is no way of dividing the combined Conservative Reform UK vote in a way that lets Labour through in the middle. However, just as Farage has the potential to pull votes from the Conservatives, so too does he have the potential to encourage anti-Farage voters to work against him by backing the tactical choice, which mercifully in this area is really clearly Labour. It's not one of these where you're not really sure who it is. That being said, the math still doesn't favour Labour unless some undecided voters swing behind them against both the Tories and Farage. We can't rule out Farage nicking some votes from Labour as well. Like ordinarily, I would say the polling this year, unlike with the Brexit Party in 2019, the polling this year shows Reform UK having negligible impact on Labour votes, but Nigel Farage is a different beast. So despite my initial thoughts when Farage announced he would be standing, the latest polling does suggest that he would stand a chance of winning. I have to caution, MRP polls cannot take account of a whole range of local issues, and it may be that the majority of people are so against Farage, even in Clacton, that they rally behind the Labour candidate against him. So given that there are a whole stack of unknowns in this contest, shall we say Farage has a chance at least? especially as I'm not sure the Dolphins actually standing. At which point, what would Farage the parliamentarian be like? Well, first of all, don't expect him to attend very much. He didn't attend the EU Parliament, but then he was trying to bring it down so his supporters could say, well, we don't want you attending that. It's all a gravy trade anyway. It could be argued that some people would take a dimmer view of him failing to attend the British Parliament. But then you look at another populist figure, George Galloway. He said he'd be a voice for Gaza and then missed almost every debate and urgent question that took place on Gaza after taking his seat in the House of Commons. Yet his supporters haven't turned against him, have they? He'll run his grift somewhere else in the future and people will still vote for him. Shysters are pretty good at mesmerising their victims, it seems. But there might be some downsides for Farage being an MP. For one thing, his finances would face a bit more scrutiny. Not as much as they should, but more than exists now. Also, Labour have a policy of restricting second jobs for MPs. I'm not sure that the policy is going to be quite as comprehensive as I first thought, or that I would like. But it could still cramp some of Farage's side hustles. He'd also naturally face more scrutiny from the media. He did not enjoy some of the questions he was being asked by journalists on Monday, did he? He, on more than one occasion, said, oh, he's boring questions, ask me more exciting. You're boring, you are. This might help more people see just how little he enjoys real scrutiny. But then, of course, his shtick is claiming that the establishment are against him and broadcast media are most certainly part of the establishment. So that doesn't necessarily lose him support either. In fact, apart from Farage potentially being uncomfortable at the enhanced level of financial security that will come his way, I'm not sure I'm seeing any actual advantages to him winning the Clacton seat, even given that it comes at the cost of a Tory MP. So in terms of standing and potentially winning, there are some benefits to him standing in that it will hurt the Tories, as well as encourage them to pursue dumber tactics in the election, further hurting their results. Against that, we have to listen to some terrible takes on a number of policy areas which the media will not robustly fact check. In terms of Farage winning, I'm not seeing any benefits. It might cause the Conservatives to continue on the path of stupid evil, but I'm not sure it's worth the evil that we get in return. So if people in Clacton would like to make sure they get registered to vote ASAP and vote against him, that'll be very much appreciated. Ballot papers, not milkshakes, is how we deal with him. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for further content and click the like button. You can also sign up for memberships if you'd like to support the channel further. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.